Red Bull might be preparing significant strategic shifts in the near future, with Sebastian Vettel now positioned as a legitimate candidate for Helmut Marko's influential role. The seasoned Austrian executive has discussed openly the possibility of being succeeded by the four-time Formula One world champion who ruled the motorsport landscape from 2010 through 2013. And surprisingly, this potential transition appears far more realistic than anyone initially anticipated. But what kind of transformation would Vettel bring to Red Bull's organizational framework, and perhaps more crucially, does this represent the ideal position for him within the Austrian racing outfit? One certainty about Vettel is his continued connection to Formula One. The German racing driver has acknowledged that he somewhat misses the sensation of controlling a race car, yet in an unexpected development, the position he may pursue involves staying away from the cockpit. Sebastian has served as an exemplary representative for motorsport and Formula One's worldwide influence. And while he will maintain this ambassadorial status, he appears likely to step into Helmut Marko's advisory capacity at Red Bull. This has been characterized as an unusual decision for Vettel's Formula One journey, but examining Fernando Alonso's post-retirement path as an Aston Martin ambassador helps clarify the four-time champion's objectives. Recent developments have strengthened the likelihood of this scenario materializing. Vettel successfully completed a 4-day educational program at Harvard designed for agents and management professionals. Your immediate question might be how someone manages to finish a 4-day program at such a renowned academic institution. If Harvard offers this type of curriculum, it's presumably a credible program targeting specific professional goals rather than a general course that would serve no purpose for Vettel. We're not here to evaluate the program's merit, but to share the facts. And Vettel's Harvard Business School certification clearly demonstrates his intention to pursue something meaningful in his professional life. He hasn't finished with mentoring, instructing, or potentially discovering talent scouts who face challenges reaching Formula One, despite possessing the necessary skills and velocity. This explains why Helmut Marko's position would be perfectly suited for him. Marko himself has endorsed these sentiments, identifying Vettel as his ideal successor when the appropriate moment arrives for the experienced Austrian to step away from the sport. Expanding on this topic, Marko explained that Vettel understands his future aspirations, which primarily involve motorsport. Naturally, we must consider this carefully. Sebastian represents an excellent choice, though no detailed conversations have occurred yet. Many candidates and applicants exist, but currently I remain in good health. Vettel possesses considerable experience managing other racing drivers. He currently mentors young female go-kart drivers in Saudi Arabia, and his strategic leadership throughout his Formula One career demonstrates his capabilities. Helmut Marko believes that should Vettel assume his role, he would require no more than 2 race weekends to establish complete control using his fresh methodology. Helmut also thinks that Vettel's external pursuits, including forest ownership in Austria with private hunting territories, would actually benefit his management of Red Bull's driver development program. Replacing Helmut Marko involves covering enormous responsibilities, but we must acknowledge the unavoidable reality. We cannot anticipate much more from Red Bull's current organizational structure. The truth must be stated plainly. Despite Marko aging gracefully like premium wine and crossing his 80th birthday, he continues attending every Red Bull race. He doesn't occupy a team position as some meaningless byproduct of a worthless agreement. We should remember his numerous contributions to the junior development program as well. He has nurtured drivers including Vettel, Ricciardo, Verstappen, Albon, Gasly, and Arvid Lindblad, who represents a strong contender for a racing seat in 2026. Therefore, Marko's opinions carry significant weight regarding his replacement. He understands perfectly that Red Bull depends extensively on their junior development system for producing future team champions, and Marko's most valuable characteristic remains his unwavering honesty. Many individuals may find this disagreeable, but we have witnessed Verstappen describing Marko as a crucial supporter throughout Red Bull's internal conflicts. The Dutch driver even warned Red Bull that Helmut's departure would prompt his own exit from the sport, though Marko suggested Max's declaration was unnecessary while demonstrating their close bond. Since Vettel's retirement, his Formula One paddock appearances could be numbered using a single hand, as he dedicated most of his energy to environmental initiatives. However, the four-time world champion's perspective could revolutionize Red Bull's junior driver development approach. Consider his comments about Lando Norris's emotional struggles compared to Marko's assessment. Helmut Marko declared that Norris's publicly discussed mental health challenges would cost him the championship against Piastri, while Vettel commended the positive example Lando provides to the Formula One community. This philosophical shift could enable struggling drivers to discover previously unknown performance levels, and situations like this would benefit young drivers far more than Red Bull's traditional methods. The situation becomes clear when examining previous examples. We have observed talented drivers faltering under pressure when partnered with Verstappen, including Albon and Gasly. During those periods, Red Bull lacked the most competitive machinery and constantly rotated drivers seeking the best partnership with Max. Ironically, both of Daniel Ricciardo's replacements no longer remain with the organization. Vettel might address this issue if appointed to such a significant team role, and considering his excellent professional relationship with Horner, integration problems seem unlikely. Describing Vettel as filling substantial shoes when replacing Marko would be a considerable understatement. Years of effective driver training and elevating them to Formula One's pinnacle represents an extremely challenging undertaking. Few individuals possess the capabilities to perform Marko's responsibilities, regardless of personal opinions about him. Conversely, we must examine the internal power dynamics that nearly destroyed Red Bull's entire command structure and potentially triggered Marko's departure from the Austrian organization. Although we have been assured that everything remains stable behind Red Bull's private doors, the situation may differ from public perceptions. Smoke typically indicates fire, and Helmut Marko appears to have been defeated in his conflict with Horner. Christian secured overwhelming support from the Tybev ownership group, forcing the Austrian faction to publicly endorse Horner moving forward. The internal battle's consequences have become visible through damaged relationships, high-profile departures, and now Helmut Marko's possible replacement. We must maintain objectivity here. Who can confirm that Vettel's appointment to Marko's role isn't being orchestrated by Horner? The British team principal maintains an excellent relationship with Sebastian, and recognizing how perfectly this position suits Vettel, Christian may be manipulating circumstances behind the scenes beyond our observation. Ultimately, Marko cannot fulfill his responsibilities indefinitely, and we know definitively that he has stated his tenure won't last forever. Red Bull should act strategically now and make this transition while a former driver like Vettel remains accessible to them. You might wonder how Red Bull's driver development program would operate under Vettel's guidance. Previously, we have witnessed nothing except a demanding and high-pressure environment where underperformance results in immediate dismissal. We need not look far to observe Red Bull's driver program severity. Examine Lawson's situation following 2 races where he couldn't advance from Q3 qualifying, resulting in his demotion back to Racing Bulls without receiving an opportunity to demonstrate his abilities at Suzuka, a circuit he appreciates due to his Super Formula experience. Many view this as an unjust decision for the New Zealand driver's career progression. Here we contemplate the broader scenario where Helmut Marko becomes irrelevant, and if you were leading this program like Vettel potentially would, you would desire some modifications, perhaps adjusting the vehicle setup slightly to accommodate younger drivers' preferences as well. I'm not suggesting the car is entirely configured for Max's driving characteristics, but seeing Pérez, Lawson, and Tsunoda struggle with Red Bull's machinery reveals significant issues with the second seat alongside Verstappen. From this perspective, Red Bull seems unprepared to abandon their single-driver-focused philosophy currently in place, and this represents something Vettel would likely modify sooner rather than later. Considering all these factors, do you believe Vettel is prepared for a new Red Bull position? And more significantly, do you think he represents the correct choice for Helmut Marko's responsibilities? Share your thoughts in the comments section below, and afterward, be sure to select the video that appears on your screen immediately.